I'm Roger Baker, Executive Director of the Stratfor Center for Applied Geopolitics at RANE, a global center of excellence for geopolitical intelligence and analysis. Learn how you can put geopolitics to work for your organization at ranenetwork.com.
Welcome to RANE's Essential Geopolitics podcast. I'm Emma Kami, and I'll be your host for today's episode. Mexico's former Foreign Minister Marcelo Ebrard, who is vying to be the 2024 presidential candidate for Mexico's ruling Morena party, said on September 5th that he was very concerned about how Morena has conducted the polling process used to select its presidential nominee. Here to talk with us about what this means for Mexico's ruling Morena party is Carmen Colosi, Latin America analyst at RANE. Welcome, Carmen.
Thank you so much for having me, Emma.
So to start us off, can you give us some background for the Morena presidential primary?
Sure. So Mexico is going to hold general elections in June of 2024. Ahead of those elections, the ruling Morena party, which is in many ways based around a single political figure, which is the current Mexican president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, this party is going to select a presidential candidate. Now, in Mexico, presidents can't hold office more than one term in a row. And so because of that, this party, which in many ways is based around a single figurehead, has to choose a successor. Because of that, we are seeing that there's two big contenders. The first one, like you've talked about earlier, Emma, is Ebrard. The second one is Mexico City Mayor, or former Mexico City Mayor, shall I say, Claudia Sheinbaum. Sheinbaum is currently polling approximately 10 to 12 points ahead of Ebrard. What that means is that we're very likely to see her get Morena's presidential nomination. Like you said, because this political party, Morena, is really based around a single figurehead, many people are speculating that López Obrador has, in many ways, selected Sheinbaum as his, or in some ways nodded to Sheinbaum as his chosen successor, kind of pushing the former foreign minister out.
And what is the biggest difference between the two favorites, Ebrard and former Mexico City Mayor Claudia Sheinbaum?
So policy-wise, there's not much difference between the two. They both have promised to continue López Obrador's policy platform. The slight difference here is that Sheinbaum has really signaled that she is likely to follow, in line with the current president's economic and political vision of, keeping welfare spending high and investing in major public infrastructure projects. Sheinbaum has slightly differed from the current president in that she's put a little bit more emphasis on environmental projects, but we don't really know what that looks like yet in terms of policy. Ebrard has broken very slightly from the president's current policy platform. He's really kind of repeatedly sought to take advantage of the quote-unquote nearshoring opportunity that Mexico has currently. That really meaning that he's really trying to create a single, platform for what investment in Mexico's manufacturing sector could look like. Currently, López Obrador negotiates each new investment in Mexico on a case-by-case basis. So by streamlining that process, Ebrard has promised to, give that nearshoring opportunity a better chance. He has also done something on the political stage that is a little, shall I say, controversial within the Morena party, which is that he's granted interviews to some of the current president's most famous critics. Now, many in Morena, in the current party, have refused to grant any interviews to any critics, refusing to engage them. But Ebrard has said that there is not a single platform or piece of media or person, journalist that he's not willing to talk with. And so that has really kind of ruffled some feathers within the Morena political establishment.
Wow. So if you don't mind me asking, how does this kind of competition between the two impact their odds against the opposition party going into presidential elections?
Yeah, that's a great question, Emma. So from what we know of polling right now, there is, we're very likely to see Morena be a very competitive party. So no matter who the candidate is, we're very likely to see a Morena win. And in many ways, that's based off of current polling. And in many ways, that's exactly the reason why this primary for the party is so competitive, is because many people are viewing this primary as a way to essentially choose the next president. There is a significant political opponent. Xochitl Galvez is, the opposition's chosen candidate, and she's competitive in many ways that neither of the two Morena candidates aren't. She comes from a middle-class background. She has ties to an indigenous tribe in Mexico. And so because of that, there's many social factors that could lead some Morena supporters to support her as opposed to Morena. But of course, as I've talked about previously, Morena is the dominant political force in Mexico currently. So as we'll see this competition play out, we could potentially see if Morena does see some sort of a split or a cleavage, we'll almost certainly see Galvez taking advantage of that.
Okay, I guess that makes a lot of sense. And final question, what options does Ebrard have to challenge the nomination process, and how could it impact the ruling party?
Yeah, so if Ebrard feels like Morena's presidential nomination process is unfair, there's a chance that he could break with the party and decide to run independently in the presidential election. Now, while this would, Ebrard would almost certainly not be able to win the presidential election, he could potentially signal a weakness within the ruling party that could see the opposition coalition double down on refusing to work with the current president to pass any sort of proposed constitutional amendments in the meantime, or potentially try to block policy, although the Morena has a majority in Congress that does allow them to pass policy. And because of that, we'll see Ebrard's choice in the coming days really make a difference as to whether or not the ruling Morena party is a strong party, or whether or not we see it start to fragment off a little bit.
Wow, well, definitely a lot to keep following, and Carmen, I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot more from you as this continues to develop. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing your insights.
Again, Emma, thank you so much.
For more geopolitical and economic analyses like this, subscribe to our geopolitical intelligence product, RANE Worldview. Our flagship risk intelligence products provide clients with access to the insights and analyses they need to make more informed decisions and drive better risk management outcomes. Sign up at ranenetwork.com. That's RANE network.com. I'm Emma Kami. Thanks for listening.